I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me. Why would it be unfair? Wait. Why would it be unfair for them? It's very relevant. Why would it be unfair for those students to blame the teacher?
The question's irrelevant.
Answer the question.
Why the question's irrelevant.
The reason you're not answering. I told you this is an analogy. I didn't even factor in God here. I told you it's an analogy which only includes the teacher. And the whole reason it's an analogy is for you to understand that this blame game you guys are putting on God is unfair. Okay? Shall I tell you why? Because you do not know the results and you don't even believe in God to know the results. So what I'm saying is
but within the paradigm, he says he's all-knowing. So it is his fault.
But I never said he's all-knowing.
No.
I never said that. I said God knows the result, but you don't know.
Then he's all-knowing.
For you to even determine that I'm going to fail.
Wait. Not only does he know the result, he knows what's going to happen.
Let me ask you this. Do you know in what state you're going to die? In what state you're going to die? As a Muslim or non-Muslim? You know, there were many born-again Christians that I know in this park. I've been coming here for a while, as you guys know. Many born-again Christians in this park, they were telling me, I will never ever become a Muslim. Guess what? Those born-again Christians today are preaching Islam. Because they don't know what's going to happen in the future. Neither do you know.
But Allah knows.
Yes. And what is the point?
The point is, if he knows you can't have free will, it's a contradiction.
Okay, did anyone force you to live your life for yourself?
It's predetermined.
The way you want. The way you want.
I'm entirely forced because I have no free will.
Answer the question. Is anyone forcing you guys to speak to me now?
We are entirely forced by cause and effect.
Are you going to answer the question? Is anyone forcing you?
No, not one person.
Is anyone forcing you to speak to me right now?
Because you're loading the question with a person.
No, it's not a loading.
It is. You're saying
it's a very simple question.
The answer is no, but that implies I have free will, which I don't.
No.
If
no one is forcing you,
if something is predetermined and there's a punishment,
if no one is forcing you,
can't be free will.
If no one is forcing you, then you cannot say someone has snatched away your freedom.
Something is predetermined.
There you go. You know, you guys are contradicting yourself.
No, you are.
You guys
buying
are
into
contradicting
the paradox.
yourself because you do not understand that this free will, which is actually a gift to every human being, regardless of whether they're good or evil, is something that we should have gratitude. Because the angels haven't been given this free will.
The angels
who live their entire life maybe prostrating and praying to God, they haven't been given this free will, which human beings have been given regardless of whether they're good or evil. So take this free will,
before you were born,
take this free will
and
make the most of it. Do not question Allah. What He's going to do to you now, when you have the chance to do it, like obey Him.
Before you were born, did Allah know what you were going to do?
Allah knows everything.
There you go.
So He knew you were going to do.
Allah knows everything, but do you know?
Before you were born.
Do you know?
Of course I know.
Good. If you don't know, wait. If you don't know, why do you think negatively that you're going to have hell?
I didn't say that.
Should you not? Okay. Should you not work for going to paradise?
It's predetermined.
It's predetermined.
Yeah, but you don't know that. What is predetermined? How do you know you're going to paradise or hell? How do you know that?
No, Allah knows you're going to go and read.
No, but how do you know that?
Because it says in the Quran.
No, because everything is
all knowing.
No, you don't understand my question. My question is not whether Allah is predetermined. My question is, how do you know what He's predetermined for you?
Isn't it predetermined in your
Do these guys not understand simple English? I don't mean to be condescending.
paradox.
It's a very simple question.
I could be missing this.
It's a paradox.
Listen to the question again. Did you know that you were going to come to the park here? Did you know you were going to come to the park here?
No, but
Good.
Allah
So
did.
you made the intention to come to the park on a Sunday. Yes? You knew that. Did someone force you to do that? Good. So is that by your free will or without your free will? What's the problem?
Okay, 10 years ago he made
What's the problem?
The problem is that simple test I gave you can't answer.
There's no punishment element.
Very simple, X and Y.
I can answer that already.
You didn't.
But there's no punishment.
You made a big
Allah
mistake.
knows I
No
will
one
choose
said-
X, therefore I cannot choose Y.
But do you know what you were going to... Wait.
Doesn't matter why I know.
No,
It's
it does. Shall I tell you why
The
it does?
paradox is not about me, it's about Allah.
Did somebody force you to choose that?
It's a loaded question.
Not a loaded question. Very simple question. You had two choices. You had two choices to choose X and Y. You had two choices. Did anybody force you to choose either X or Y?
Yes.
Who?
The environment.
What
The
environment?
cause and effect.
What environment? There's only
Everything.
The environment was hidden from
Right
you,
back
and you didn't know which
from the
you didn't know which hand was X or you didn't know which hand was Y. Did anyone force you to pick any one of the hands?
Hashim, it's infinite regression, man. It goes right
No, it's
back.
nothing good in fit record. Come
It
on,
is.
that's completely a false equivalence here.
No, it's
What
not.
I'm saying is that if no one forced you, it's free will. It's
Yeah,
very
but you're
simple.
bringing in
But
this.
there's a punishment element.
It's a paradox for you actually, but it's not
No,
paradox for me.
it's a paradox for you.
No, it's very simple for me. For me, it was a clear choice.
Is there a punishment
You don't
element?
have a choice because Allah knows the answer.
Look,
There's no choice.
I've already made this very clear that Allah has made the consequence of not obeying Him clear, and Allah has made the reward. Let me finish. Allah has made the reward and the punishment both very clear for obedience and disobedience to Allah. This is clear. So it's not something that you have been given a test which is unfair to you.
Actually, can we just ask another
Let me finish this. It's not unfair test. The test is very clear. You have been given a choice in this life to either disobey or obey Allah. You have been given a guidance. You haven't been sent to this earth unguided. You have been given a guidance. And this guidance is for you, for your free will, for your own self to either choose to obey or disobey. If anyone tells you that you have been forced to disobey or forced to obey, then you go to ask your own conscience.
We know the
Who is
religious
this forcing
paradigm.
me?
We know the religious
Who's
paradigm, but
forcing
you're
me?
not
No, it's
answering
not.
the
You don't. For you, as far as you're concerned,
No.
all this matter doesn't even mean anything.
That's correct.
Yes. So why are you worried about it?
Because it's
Why
a
are you
paradox.
worried? Why is it a paradox?
For you, it's a paradox.
Even if it's a paradox, what are you worried about? You're just a matter.
Do you accept
For
it's
you, it's just matter of.
Hashim, do you accept it's predetermined?
Everything is predetermined.
Predetermined.
Everything's predetermined.
Therefore, we
But
have
you
no
don't-
free will. That's the definition. That's the definition of free will. It's not predetermined.
I've responded to this many times.
You can't have it both ways,
No,
brother.
I've
I'm
responded.
sorry.
I've responded to this many
Can I
times.
use an example? I
Wait,
have a
wait.
baby.
He gave an example of choosing X or Y.
Okay, let's say I have a baby.
If he didn't know which hand was X and Y, and no one forced him to choose, then as far as you're concerned, no one forced you, right?
You keep saying.
See, he won't answer that. He will say that is a loaded question because he knows that goes against his
No,
analogy.
it doesn't.
It does. No one
There is
forced
force,
you.
thank you, but
How
it's
is
not
that
a
forced?
person. He says one.
How is it forced? Show me.
You just have to
What's the effect?
You just have to ponder over every decision you make. There's a precursor to it. So there's a reason why
It's an antecedent.
you came to here.
No, I'm asking you, how was it forced? Let's define force. Force means to coerce someone into doing something against their will. Do you agree with that definition? Coercion. Okay, so when he was asked to choose between X and Y, was there any coercion?
Depends what the
As far as he's concerned, was there any coercion?
Yeah, I mean, it's you have to look at the history that leads up to that decision. I mean,
What is true?
if you take something simple as the shirt you're wearing, the decision you made, or the food you like, there are reasons why you like it. It's because of the environment you were brought up in. There's a reason why you're Muslim. The people
You
you
misunderstood my question.
what I'm trying to-
When I
what's the
define
concept?
coercion to you,
Yeah.
yes, you agree with the definition that you're not forced into doing something that is against your will.
There can be no coercion if there
Okay,
is
so
predetermined.
if it is someone,
can't
for
be a
example,
punishment element.
if this shirt I was to
Absolutely,
wear,
but that's a-
yes,
yeah.
by my
We've got
own
to get
will,
him to accept it
if no
first
one
before
forced
we
me to
talk
do
about
it,
punishment.
can I say that I wore it out of my own volition?
Depends on what you mean by force, because
I think you guys really have to define what
But
force is.
Hashim, you accept predeterminism and you claim
You have
the free
to
will.
explain to me what is force.
whatever you do,
The punishment of eternal hell.
No, forget that now. What
Whatever-
is force? What is force in the actions that you carry out in this way?
without having
Okay, so did you have a choice for the t-shirt you're wearing today?
no, not really.
So in your wardrobe, that was the only
No, there's no
t-shirt?
not really about it, brother.
Wait,
It's
is
zero.
that the only t-shirt in your wardrobe?
No, there's a bunch.
So you didn't have choice to wear another
No.
other
Well, you
clothes?
stopped your thinking right there.
Stop. Okay, and
stops
then
right there.
and then what? I
Well,
just
I'm saying
stopped.
there's a bunch of reasons why I chose this color. I mean, it doesn't show
The
sweat.
question wasn't why you chose that
You've got to let me
color.
finish.
Yeah.
I'm 20 seconds.
The question was, did someone force you?
No, but he's not accepting that if it's
Yes, but
predetermined.
you've got to
Who was
listen
that?
to.
Answer.
It's not a
It's a paradox.
It's a bunch of clauses that leads up to your decision.
Answer the question.
What
Who
I'm
was
saying
it?
is,
Who or what was it? Just
every
answer.
choice you make, there's a reason for it. There's a cause for it. There's
no free will.
The more you ponder over it, there's no choice
I'm
at
not
all.
asking for every reason, just for your t-shirt. Can
I've
you
just
please
explained to
answer
you. I've
a
just
simple
explained to you.
question?
Okay.
Just
Let
focus
me
on your
simple.
t-shirt.
Let me.
Okay, just focus on your t-shirt. That's it. Nothing else.
One, it was in my wardrobe. Number two, it was a color that doesn't show sweat. Number three, it's one that was clean. I mean, I have 5 or 6 t-shirts, none of these colors.
How does that answer my question if it was
I've
forced?
just answered.
Do you remember the question I asked you?
I've just answered.
What was my question?
If it's forced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on
If
your
there's less
based on the answer you just gave me, how was it forced?
Because I can't find, if I use a white t-shirt, I wish I sweat on my shirt, for example.
Okay.
So
You only have choice of white and gray.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, but you're
In a
bringing in
simple way.
discretion.
No, you see,
There
you
is no
see
discretion.
what you have done there.
Muslim cannot have free will.
You know what you have done there.
That's the point.
You have, in order to limit your answer, you have chosen only white and gray. Whereas I can tell you for a
No, I
fact
don't have free
that I'm sure you've got more colors in your wardrobe.
Ah, but this is the darkest.
So there you go. You see, if you cannot even be sincere in your answers to a simple question, then I don't think we can carry out this
But
conversation.
Hashim, I cannot
What you're
believe
saying is
you're
that
holding on to the...
if you guys are saying that I've been forced, then you got to tell me, show me how
No, we
you've been
haven't.
forced.
No, I said he's got free will, but you have not.
No, how is he called a free will?
Because and if he doesn't believe in it,
He doesn't even believe in God.
If he doesn't believe
For
in
him,
nothing
for
can
him,
be-
the
nothing
meaning,
can be- nothing can be
for him,
for him,
free
and
will.
there's no punishment.
I don't
for
even
him.
have any
How do you know
choice
that?
in that.
He's been
No.
predetermined, and the punishment for you.
No. For him,
It's already
wait,
decided
for him,
whether you're going to go to
you
hell
and
or
I
heaven.
and him as well are meaningless of our existence. That is his point of view.
That's
Correct me if I'm
correct.
wrong.
That's correct.
Yes. So do not answer on behalf of other people if you don't know their
No, I'm saying
from
an
their
atheist,
point of view.
An atheist could say he has free will.
Look, every atheist.
Some do.
Cannot.
They'd be
Don't
wrong.
put every atheist in one box.
A Muslim
Do you
cannot.
realize that Buddhists are atheists? They don't believe in God, but they're spiritual, unlike him. Okay, so for them, they have a purpose. They believe in reincarnation and so on. They believe in life after death. This atheist might not. Not every atheist is
I
the
said
same.
an atheist can argue for free will.
Yeah, but when you say an atheist,
Right, but
you
not
need
all-
to
not
define
all- not all
which atheist.
atheists
A
are
Muslim cannot
naturalists, right?
argue
So
for free
Which
will.
atheist? Is it a
Somewhere
naturalist?
No, I'm saying if they wanted to, they could argue.
Is
for
it
free will.
materialist,
He doesn't-
naturalist, nihilist?
No,
Which
I'm saying
atheist?
that they
Hashim
can
does
argue
not,
for it.
but the fundamental belief that you have, which I find crazy, as do everybody else, I think, apart from Muslims, is that you're saying that predeterminism does not violate the principle of free will. That's what you're saying, which is
You knew-
utterly ludicrous. It's by
Shall I
definition.
tell you why not? Because if you knew the result of this predetermination,
Not me.
can I finish?
Yeah.
Look, if you know the result of that predetermination, then you would have a valid point. However, because you don't know what the result of that predetermination is, all you have the option to do in this world is that you go about your daily life, not being coerced, let me finish, not being coerced, not being forced, but to obey Allah and His Messenger. If you do that, then you have the promise of paradise. This promise of paradise is such that Allah says in the Quran that He doesn't go back on His promise.
But the
Now, wait
proselytizing
a
is in a
minute,
good
wait a
way.
minute. Once you obey and not disobey Allah and His Messenger, then on the day of judgment, you can ask the question to Allah that why did you make a promise to me that if I do X, Y, and Z, I'll be promised paradise, but now I realize that I haven't. If that is the case, if that is the case, that means you have been promised something and you're not being delivered that particular promise, then you would have a case on the day of judgment. But as far as you're concerned, as far as I'm concerned, as far as he's concerned, no one is forcing any
Because
of
you're
us,
arguing about
any
the
of us to
delusion of
do
free
anything.
will.
Whether you call it a delusion or not.
Nobody's
Would we
arguing
be-
about the
would we be
delusion of free
punished?
will.
Is matter a delusion for you?
Sorry, it's what?
Is this
be
matter
punished?
a delusion?
No,
we
the
be
matter's
punished?
not a delusion, but the free will is a...
Is your existence a delusion?
No,
Does your existence have a meaning?
no.
Nobody worried.
It's not about...
Honestly, why is he worried?
It's not about worried, it's about the fact that you have a
Let's
contradiction.
say,
there a contradiction
let's say
at all?
I read the Quran.
Absolutely 100% a contradiction.
And I read the Quran, I read the Hadith, and I reject it. Will I be punished?
Are you doing that by your own choice?
You don't have one.
No.
Predetermined.
Okay, let's say
You're doing it
yes,
again.
yes.
Every time putting words
No,
in his mouth.
no,
Let him answer by
no.
himself. He's a grown man. He's quite capable of
I have to
answering
say,
by himself.
I say,
I
I
read
can't
it,
put words
I
in his mouth.
reject
He
it.
doesn't have any
Okay,
free
by my
will.
own
If
choice.
you read it by
my
your
own
own choice, then
I'm gonna reject it.
you know what is the consequence that is mentioned in the Quran.
Eternal damnation.
So you have answered your own question.
I'm going to be punished, and yet it's free will.
No, you're going to be punished. You said it. You're doing it by your own choice.
You
You
have
just said
no
it
choice.
yourself.
Wait.
He just said it himself that I'm doing it by my own choice. If you're doing something by your own choice, then you should be ready for the
Do you believe you've got a
consequences
choice?
as well. Okay, why do you not have a choice? Tell me. Who's forcing you to do anything in this
No
world?
one's proved free will.
Who's forcing you?
It's all been predetermined according to
That's
your
not the question. The
control.
question is who's forcing you? If you think it is not free will, I'm asking you why is it not free will when you don't even know the result of predetermined? Okay, maybe it's been predetermined that you both are going to paradise. Then have you got a complaint?
Complain about what? We're not arguing about
No.
paradise. We're arguing about free will denies determinism.
I just asked him, was it by your choice? He said yes.
Yeah, he misspoke.
Okay, I'll let you both carry out your
Hashim,
disagreement.
the
I think you're going in
delusion
circles.
is strong.
What? I think the delusion for you, my friend, that your life is meaningless, you got to worry
But
more
it's
about that.
impossible, but the point we're making is basically it's impossible to have predetermination and punishment and then say to the person,
For you to just keep saying predetermination when you don't even know the outcome of that predetermination, it's quite. To be frank with you, you're worried about something that you don't even know has happened to you so far.
It's already been decided
You have a
what
choice.
I'm gonna do.
Look, you have a choice, like you said. I, by my own choice, are going to reject the Quran. Okay, that was your choice, was it not? Answer.
I'm not going to misspeak.
Oh, now you're going to go by this gentleman's terms.
No, because I
Come
think-
on, have free choice to answer at least, without him telling you what you should think.
I think it's a trick question. I mean,
No, it's not a trick question. It's a very simple question. Are you being forced to do things in your life?
Determination,
Yes.
punishment,
Yes.
and still say someone's got
You
free
don't know
will.
the answer to the predicament. You don't know the
Unless
result
you
of
can
predicament.
demonstrate free will scientifically, which you cannot.
Well, first and foremost, when you're trying to use scientific method to know God, I think you're using the wrong
Right,
tool.
we're okay with that, but your God's
Why
all-knowing
you-
and it's
why are you
predetermined. You already
discussing?
said
Wait,
that.
wait. Why are you
already said
discussing?
it's
Wait, wait.
predetermined.
Why are you discussing things of metaphysics and expecting scientific method to find that out? Don't you think that is the
But
most?
you trapped
don't you think-
yourself.
Don't you think that is the worst thing you
Your
can do?
book traps
by using,
yourself. You
by using
agreed
the
to
wrong tools
you agreed
to understand things of
Hashim,
the
you're
metaphysics.
just not going anywhere because you agreed to predeterminism. Therefore, you yourself deny free will.
And you're not
Therefore,
answering
you
my-
cannot agree
and
to
you're
punishment.
not answering my questions for a reason, because it goes against your
No, because your
thesis.
question is meaningless.
No, it is not meaningless. Did people force you to say things what you
It's
just
not
said
about
now?
people forcing me. It's about Allah being all-knowing.
Okay, did Allah force you?
He knew what you were going
Wait,
to do
wait.
before you
Did
were
Allah
born.
force you to just
He
say
knew
those
what you were going
words?
to do before you were born.
Okay, I'll answer the question. Let me answer the question.
Go on.
It doesn't matter whether the entity that is all-knowing forces me. It matters that the entity knows what I will do.
Just answer the question. Have you been forced just now to say that?
Yes.
You have been forced?
Yes.
Okay, define force.
Gravity, everything around, all the
No,
forces.
not that kind of force.
It's
Forcing
the
you-
same force.
No, the force.
No, it's the same force, bro.
Oh, so you're saying this, the way you speak has got something to do with gravity?
And all the other forces.
Answer the question.
All the forces.
The way you speak.
All the forces.
The way you speak.
Yes,
the way you,
everything.
By
All
the way,
the
do you
forces.
believe consciousness exists?
Yes.
Yes? Is that based on gravity?
What? Why are you picking
Answer the
one? Why are
question.
you picking one
You said
force?
everything. Answer.
All forces.
Is your consciousness determined by the gravity?
Not by gravity, but all
Thank you.
forces.
I respect
all,
it.
No, you're
so what he
walking
said,
away now.
What he said, all forces.
All
Look, look,
forces.
What
You're
I meant by
choosing one
wait,
force.
what I meant by force
It's-
is not the
it's a
physical force.
factor.
It's not the physical force in that sense.
Existence.
It's a force for you,
No choice.
your own volition. Yes.
No, he's talking about volition.
Your
He believes in
consciousness,
free will and
your
predeterminism.
consciousness has determined right now that you speak your mind.
No.
For his view.
You know, there's a point talking to this guy because he doesn't even know what
No,
consciousness
because
is.
you don't understand what you're
Define-
saying.
tell
You're
me-
in a paradox.
Tell me what you understand by consciousness. Go on.
Okay.
Scientifically speaking.
Okay, well, I'll give you what we think we know so far, right?
Go on.
So we have two aspects to the brain here. So we have signals coming up from the bottom, sensory perception going into the brain, and we have predictive information coming back out of the brain. So what we think consciousness is that predictive process. So there are two different frequencies, so they can be measured. So there's two frequencies. There's frequencies coming up from our sensors, okay, bottom to top, and we've got top to bottom, which is our predictive based on past experience coming back. And we know this because we can do tests where we can fool the brain with the senses, and yet it will go with the prediction. So the brain. So for instance, there's a test. It's a great little test I saw the other day, where they you have your hands on the desk, okay, and they put a fake hand, so you can't see your own hand, right? So that's off to the side, and they put.
Or the one they hit with the hammer?
Well, you're coming to that, but they have two hands, and they stroke your hand that you can't see and your hand, this fake hand. So your brain predictively thinks that this hand is your hand, and when you then stab or thump with a hammer, as you said, the fake hand, you react because you really think he's hit your real hand, and that's because your predictive consciousness feeds the truth, your truth, not your sensory perception, which is what they always believed. I mean, until like late in the 90s, they believed that it was all about sensory perception from the bottom to the top, and it's only in recent times that they believe.
Is that how you define consciousness? Seriously.
That's what neuroscientists at the moment have got.
That's not consciousness.
Oh, well, you're going to deny
That,
it.
no, I'm not denying
I'm
that.
giving you the best bet we got.
No, you have just given me an experiment of how your mind perceives things. That's all it, but that doesn't define
Ask
consciousness.
him to define it.
Okay, is consciousness material?
Ask him to define it. You define it.
Yes, it has a material aspect, yeah.
Which is what? Which
we-
matter is that?
Well, we can see these. What we can do is we
No,
can
which
see.
matter is it?
What do you mean?
Which matter from chemistry is it?
In the brain.
Yeah, which one is it?
We can see them.
Which is it a chemical? Is it
don't need to know that.
is it?
Do
You
we
know,
need-
matter. Every
matter,
Which
yeah.
matter is that determines your consciousness?
I don't know. Off the
Exists.
top of my head, but we can see it in the brain. We can monitor it.
You can see consciousness.
Yes, because when
Or you can
people
see your
are
brain
when people are
activating-
in a vegetative state, we can see completely different.
I don't think you know the meaning of consciousnness. You're telling me of
I
the
think you're
activity.
giving me your meaning.
No, you're telling me about the activity of the brain. That's all you're telling me.
But that's all we got.
That's not what consciousness is.
That's scientific. That's
Oh
all
my
we've got.
God! what? He doesn't know what consciousness
Yeah,
is.
because you want to invent
No, I don't want to
some
invent.
religious consciousness.
No, it's not a religious.
how we
I'm telling you,
understand
if you think...
I'm giving you my best shot
if
there.
you're telling me that...
It's how you understand it.
If you're telling me that consciousness is how your brain activity functions, then you don't even know what consciousness is.
No. What you're saying is your definition is different. Fine. You can have your definition.
Okay, so can you give me a scientific definition that everyone agrees with of consciousness?
No, that's ridiculous.
Why not? Science defines everything.
that's
Science
ridiculous.
defines an atom.
You define it.
If something is material, science defines it.
You're saying I've got to give you a definition that everyone agrees with.
No,
That's a
science-
ludicrous thing. Even
scientists-
scientists don't agree.
Okay, so you don't have any scientists agreeing with the definition of consciousness.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of agreement, yeah.
Give me one definition.
They think it's this predictive nature of the brain. That they think that yields this prediction yields consciousness.
So you're saying that...
They used to believe it was to do with checking.
So you're telling me a child who has a brain...
They're not sure about babies.
Hold on. A child, I'm not talking about babies. What age is babies for you? 2 years and younger?
No, newborn babies, I'm saying. They're not
I'm
sure.
talking about older than that.
Right,
So
okay.
say toddlers. Do toddlers have consciousness?
Well, this is it. There's a problem here because they can't. No, don't laugh. Because seriously, it's an ethical issue.
You know
We
what?
can't test.
Look.
We can't
If
test
anyone
it on
tells me
toddlers,
like,
right?
if anyone tells me consciousness is material, then they need to tell me what it's made of.
Brain matter.
I'm not asking you what your brain is made of. I'm asking
No,
what
it's made of the
consciousness
same things. It's in our brain. You're saying it's something
is. He doesn't know what
external.
consciousness is. Honestly, he doesn't.
No, you want to give a different
I thought you
definition.
were, honestly, you let me down because I thought you were someone who was
Test,
learned
test.
and someone
Without
who would,
the test.
be able to tell me what consciousness is.
They
But he
don't,
tells me,
brother, they don't know.
He tells me the activity. He tells
They
me
do
he's
not know,
defining for me
Hashim.
what a brain is.
The test before
If anyone says that consciousness is matter, they got to know what matter is made of.
Gravity doesn't exist either, presumably. Because we
I'm asking about gravity.
We don't know what that is, though.
I'm asking
But we
about-
don't know what it is.
Stop shouting.
We don't know what it is.
I'm asking you.
Doesn't exist.
I asked you if consciousness is material, and
You
you told
said
me yes.
that it's like-
And then when I
I
asked you
couldn't
what
say
matter
what
is
it
made
is.
of, you don't have a definite answer.
Because I can't give you a definition. I
Well, don't
cannot
make
give
up
you a
things.
definition of
Don't
gravity.
speculate if you don't know.
It's not a
But anyway,
speculation.
I think I've made
He's
my
given up.
point clear. Not giving up.
You're in a paradox.
I'm telling
That's
you
your
that
point.
if you don't know what consciousness
Paradox.
is, go study and come back and we talk. Okay? But it's not the brain.
We should shake hands.
It's not the brain. Yes? I have no problem shaking hands
No,
with
no,
you.
of course not.
But the thing is,
It was a good discussion.
Look. At the end of the
I
day,
enjoyed it.
if you don't know, there's nothing wrong in us going and studying it. Okay?
Which is what
But
we do. We
Look,
don't
trust me. If you find a scientist who says that consciousness is material, you come and bring to me that particular scientist.
All neuroscientists believe
thesis.
that.
Bring his thesis to me.
All neuroscientists believe that.
Is material that they think is material?
Yes, of course.
Okay, bring me a scientist who's credible and who says that consciousness is material.
It's been
And
that
then
way
we talk.
since Descartes.
And then
Nobody's
we
denied
talk.
that.
No problem. All right, thanks, guys.
It's external.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Vegard and I'm a Norwegian Muslim convert. I'm working with the Dawah organization Islamnet to establish the Deen of Allah here in Norway. We give Dawah and present Islam to the Norwegian people. Isn't that great? To be more efficient in our Dawah, we are establishing a first of its kind Masjid and Dawah center, where we will have Islamic programs, classes, lectures and education for non-Muslims. I am so grateful to Allah for having guided me to Islam. Sadly, I am the only Muslim in my family. It hurts me that my parents haven't accepted Islam yet, and I ask Allah to guide them. But it also gives me a special drive to work for the establishment of Islam. I don't want anyone to miss the chance of becoming Muslim. Maybe my mom and dad become Muslim one day thanks to you. If we can establish this center, I could bring my parents to come and learn about Islam in our native language, which is a challenge today with the mosque here speaking Somali, Arabic and Urdu. The Prophet ﷺ said that the Muslims are like one body. If you can feel my pain, would you please help me relieve it? You are now my new family. Click the link and donate to establish this masjid and share in the reward for the message of Islam reaching the corners of Norway.